Hey, how's it going everybody? My name is Jake. Hope you've been living life on the edge. Welcome back to the channel, and if you're new to the channel, welcome to the channel. Today's a pretty exciting day. We get to add a modification to my 981 GT4 that I just picked up a little over 2 months ago. Had 460 miles on it. It's got 1,800 miles on it now. Absolutely been loving this car. It is a great car. All that we've really done to it so far is headers, and then of course like PPF and tint and whatnot. Headers really improved just the sound, driving, all that great stuff. And Dynamic Driven Performance up in Salt Lake City actually built my custom headers, so if you want to check them out, link is down below. They sound phenomenal. What we're adding today is wing risers. So we're going to be lifting this wing up about 3 inches. I know it doesn't sound like a whole lot, but trust me, it's going to make a big difference, not only from an aesthetic standpoint, but there's actually quite a bit of practicality to adding these wing risers as well. What it first helps with is from the driver's perspective. When you're looking through the rear view mirror, the way that this wing sits currently, it's like in the middle of the rear view mirror, at least for me it is. And so by adding it, it will kind of help with visibility out the back. The other thing that I've read on these 981s and 718s on forums is when you're braking super hard on the track, you kind of lose a little bit of the end and it gets a little squirrely. The wing kind of helps with that just because of the way it's positioned, adds a little bit more downforce, but you can also fix that with toe, camber, all that good stuff and whatnot. So that's one of the great benefits to that. And then just, you know, from a aesthetic standpoint, it just makes the rear end and the whole car look a lot more aggressive. So I'm super excited to add this and get this on. I actually bought these wing risers before I even got the car, because when I was watching videos, I was like, oh, I have to have these. They just make the car look better, and it seems to help the car a lot too. So these are the RSNV wing risers. I was just going through the install guide. Instructions are very simple. I think the hardest part is just removing the 3M, cleaning it up, and then re-adding the 3M. From the sounds of it, that's probably the hardest part. And yeah, should be good to go. Pretty straightforward. Excited to get this on. Waiting for my friend Caden to show up because there's certain parts where we're gonna need 2 people to kind of help with holding the wing and placing the wing and whatnot. But it should be very simple and straightforward. We have the man of the hour here now. He's going to help us so much.
Oh, hi.
I'm just going to make him do all the work and actually just stand
I'm
behind the camera.
Flashlight.
Oh, well, by flashlight you mean the camera, but yeah. That works too.
I realized when I was going through my footage that the videos aren't necessarily in correct sequence. And what I mean by that is we actually ended up taking the wing off first and then the risers later. I know in the instructions that RSNV provides, they recommend that you remove the bolts that are securing the risers and then the wing later. And we noticed it was just a little bit shaky and a little bit unnerving to have the wing sitting with all that weight and whatnot when it wasn't secured. So what we ended up doing is we removed the wing first and then we removed the risers. So if you end up seeing some clips where the wing's in and then the wing's out and whatnot, just remember it wasn't shot in perfect sequence because we ended up going back and just removing the wing first. But what we would recommend is you actually remove the wing first and then the risers. So we're gonna go ahead and play the clips of how to remove the wing, and then we'll get into the clips that show how to remove the risers.
Right, so basically for these, it's just T30s. So I'm gonna do this side, Caden's gonna do the other side. I'm gonna set up the camera.
Removing the wing is fairly simple. There's 4 T30 hex bolts that you'll need to remove, 2 from the left wing riser and 2 from the right wing riser. One thing to remember is the rear bolt on both wing risers have a spacer. You'll need to save that spacer as you'll be using it with the aftermarket RSNV wing riser. Once all 4 bolts are removed and you're able to remove the wing, make sure to set it in a really protected area so the paint and the wing itself doesn't get damaged. From there, you'll then go ahead and start uninstalling and removing the wing risers themselves. This is the very first step of removing the wing risers. You need to pop this plastic piece off, and underneath it is another plastic piece. Now this secondary plastic piece that's under that first plastic piece has 3M behind it. You're gonna go ahead and take a heat gun and start applying some heat to it, as that 3M is super sticky. So the heat will help you be able to remove that plastic piece. Once that plastic piece is removed, you'll then have access to the bolts underneath it, and this will allow you to remove the wing risers.
Now that we have both the bolt covers off on both sides, you got the 3 hex bolts in here. So we just need to remove these 3 on both. And that's basically it. So we're gonna go ahead and do that. Now that we have most of the bolts out, what we have to do next is this little trim piece right here. I can't remember what this is called, but this is also 3M, so we just got to heat this, be pretty careful, you know, actually peeling it up and whatnot. And then all the 3M under this, we actually do need to remove because RSNV sends you new pieces and they're branded. They look so good. So we need to remove all this with Goo Gone, all that good stuff. So we'll go ahead and do that. So now that we've gone this kind of, whatever that's called, that little plastic trim piece, there's this little weather strip piece. You really don't want to lose this. This is to prevent water from going down inside the trunk and whatnot. So you're gonna set this aside because you're gonna use this for the aftermarket ones as well. I don't believe there were any ones that came with that kit. I'm pretty sure you're just supposed to use the OEM ones. But now all of this right here, and then now that we have this all should just come out in theory. But we're gonna move all of this 3M, clean it up, Goo Gone, all that stuff. Make sure it's all nice and clean so when we apply it, it's applying directly to the paint. So we're having a problem right here where the wing wants to give, but when unscrewing one of the hexes, the hex bolts, the like housing for it kind of comes out of place. So what you gotta do is kind of tap it back in, while being very careful not to lose it. The threading came out on with the bolt, and we're trying to figure out how to put it back in there without stripping the bolt, because I doubt this is just a bolt you can go find. Well, probably, but you know.
The threaded part is probably a little harder to find.
Yeah. Well, we got the piece to come off. Caden was just being careful to make sure not to damage that threading that goes inside the riser, but alas, probably will not reuse it because it was clamped down pretty hard. So yeah, ideally could just use what, like a bigger screw?
Yeah.
Yeah, to tighten it, should be fine. Should not compromise the integrity, at least we think so.
The duckbill is so much more prominent, dude.
Yeah, the duckbill is so much more prominent once you get rid of the wing. Yeah, you're absolutely right. I honestly didn't really think about it or notice it. Looks clean though, I like it. So remember that weather stripping piece, you need to make sure that you're saving it from the OEM wing riser and applying it to the new wing riser. You wanna make sure that these ridges are on the top and that flat bottom piece is on the bottom. And then it kind of sits in this little, it's kind of already grooved out, CNC'd out, so it just fits in there perfectly. And then once you're done with that, you just basically slot it right back in there, apply the bolts, and then you're putting the base on. So, all right, so now we're to the part of installing the new wing risers. RSNV recommends, requires, whatever, to apply Loctite to this. So we're just gonna do the very smallest amount of Loctite. Also, if the lighting looks weird, it's because it's raining outside. I swear this hasn't taken us hours, so like that's all we really need. I'm gonna give that to you now. All right, we want that. Okay, that one's good. And then you just kind of rinse and repeat, do the 3 on this side and the 3 on the other side, and you're good to go. Installed the new wing risers, except we don't want to tighten these bolts down here all the way. You're doing them like halfway, 3/4-ish, just because you want a little bit of wiggle room to make sure you've got them fully flush fitting the way that you want to when you put the wing on, which is what we're gonna do now. When you do put these risers in, go ahead and add the bases. However, you're going to leave the plastic on the 3M because we're not going to stick it down all the way just yet. We're gonna do that post-wing, so we make sure everything's nice, snug, fits the way that we want to, and that will be the final piece right there. All right, so the wing is fully finished and installed. We tightened everything down, everything's good to go. The first thing I wanted to check was the rear view visibility from the rear view mirror. Dude, already so much better. Exactly what I was talking about, where you'll see the wing at the very top, but as far as being able to see straight out instead of having the wing right in the middle of the mirror, that's so much better. Like for me, visibility-wise, that's already significantly better. We're gonna do a post-install review on a scale of 1 to 10. How hard do you think that install was?
3.
Yeah, that's honestly, that's the exact same number that I was thinking was like 2.5, 3. Super easy. The instructions RSNV provides are super easy to follow as well. I think there were two things that were tricky. One was on the OEM wing risers, the like threading on the inside of the wing risers, whenever you were taking the bolts out, they had a tendency to come out with the bolt, which kind of messed things up for us. But all in all, was not that difficult, and the 3M and Loctite. We kept forgetting to apply the Loctite prior to us putting the bolts in, so.
User installation.
Yeah, user installation, user error, that was about it. We definitely want to show you the outside view. Oh God. So, as far as aesthetics go, this looks absolutely phenomenal. Oh, looks so much better. The wingless was pretty good, but yeah, I'm so happy with how this turned out. Like OEM compared to this, just gives it such a much more aggressive stance and look. So much better. What are you thinking? Good install?
It's good. It's not a crazy difference, but it's noticeable.
Yeah, subtle, tasteful, noticeable.
Classy.
And we also have to talk about now the real question: is it worth the $1,000?
Nope.
Yeah. So remember how I was saying it was $800?
Well, okay.
I went back to my receipts.
I take it back.
It was actually $1,000. So literally, essentially, $500 a piece. Now it's a great quality product. Don't get me wrong.
Very.
Like, really good quality. Yeah. Listen.
Oh,
I think you need to take your mic off and do like a little
to.
ASMR on the side there, a little rubbing, a little edging. Should I use the... I don't know if that will pick up, but it sounds really good, honestly. Like you can tell it's a very high quality end product. Plus,
it is.
I'm not one for logos, but this RSNV, it's kind of hard. Let me pull out my phone flashlight. But this is so subtle, and same thing again, like very tasteful. I love it. All in all, great product. Overall rating review, I'd give it an 8. Only reason I'm not giving it a 10 is because the pricing sucks. So if you can find one for a deal, I'd say buy it, definitely worthwhile. Just be careful out there. There's a lot of GT4 forums that have a ton of scammers on there, literally listing the exact same RSNV kit for sale with like the same background and picture. So just be careful. I was almost scammed by one of those, and because it was like $750. So I just decided to end up buying it directly from RSNV because I was worried. But yeah.
It's
Anywho,
worth it.
Yeah, as Kane said.
Quality product.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, well that's it. Thank you all so much for watching. Make sure to tune in to the next video, which will be a comparison video of my GT4 versus my GT500, which I'm excited to film for that. As always, make sure to live life on the edge, and we'll see you all in the next one. Take care.